The Improve module is where I can instantly access the score, the competency class, standardized feedback, and I can create an action plan. For the competency classes, there are 3 possible classes: competent, competent needs improvement, or not competent. The competency class is determined by the % of critical and non-critical steps missed. This is different from the quality of care score. This is based on critical steps missed only. It does not factor in the non-critical steps. However, non-critical steps are factored into the section scores. The reason for that is so I can very quickly identify both critical and non-critical questions that were missed. And I can see here, this asterisk is indicating this was a critical question that was missed, whereas here, these are non-critical questions. So the difference between the two is this is factoring only the critical steps missed. This is the quality of care score. The competency class is factoring in the critical and non-critical. The quality of care score is also broken down into 3 classes. 90 to 100% is class A and it's green. 80 to 89% is class B and it's amber. Below 80% is class C and it's red. With this scoring system, a provider can actually have a quality of care score of 100% because he performed all the critical steps correctly, and then still fall into the not competent or competent but needs improvement class because he missed some of the non-critical steps. So here in this section, these are non-critical, but there wasn't a private confidential space and there were no job aids. So the non-critical questions were factored into the subsection score, but they are not factored into the overall score. The overall score is only calculating the critical steps. However, the competency class is factoring critical and non-critical, which is why it's saying this provider's competent but needs improvement in these 3 areas. Another nice feature of the Improve module is the ability to display educational videos in the module itself. So I can just click here. So this is videos for FP counseling, and then click on the info button, and this video will play directly in the app. I can also share videos with the provider, going to downloaded media and clicking the share button. So the provider can review it again later at their own convenience. After coaching the provider, the QAO can complete an action plan. So here, the action plan summarizes the critical steps missed. So the provider didn't take 2 measurements of BP, he only took 1, and he didn't interpret the findings with the client. The non-critical steps missed were there wasn't an adequate water supply and no presence of job aids. So I've pre-populated this action plan. I typed in the provider's name here, and the first action is me reminding the provider to always take 2 BP measurements and interpret them with the client. So we reviewed the protocol and practiced how the provider would explain the reading to the client. And Dr. Jenga will be reassessed next week on these steps that were missed. So the responsible person is Dr. Jenga, and the due date is effective tomorrow. The next action plan, number 2, is supervisor to supply facility with appropriate job aids. So as the supervisor, this is my responsibility, and the due date is a week from today. The third action is to refill the water tank every few days to ensure the facility never runs out of water. This was assigned to the facility manager, whose name is John, and the due date is tomorrow. So this is the end of the action plan. To mark it as completed, I click here, the check mark. Are you sure? Because once you do this, you cannot change anything. It grays everything out, so you can't edit it. You can now share it with the provider. So you click on the share button, and you can share it via SMS, email, WhatsApp, a variety of different options.